welcome back to Vinyl Friday, where I go through my records in alphabetical order like a big nerd and talk about why I love them. First, a tiny bit of housekeeping. Please remember that this is not a rubber soul week, but next week will be, so we will continue our deep dive through the album. The second piece of housekeeping, this is the 50th episode of Vinyl Friday. I will be putting out a bonus video in celebration, and as requested, the bonus video will be a countdown of my favorite 50 Paul McCartney basslines. So keep an eye out for that. That should be out in the next couple of days. Enough blabbing, let's listen to some music. Today, quite simply, we're listening to what I believe to be the best Doobie Brothers song that ever did grace this planet. Let's go. This song is Black Water by the Doobie Brothers off their 1974 album What Were Once Vices Are Now Habits. Troubling. This is the first of two #1 singles that the Doobie Brothers had over the course of their career. To my mind, the Doobie Brothers nowadays are best known for having written songs that cover bands love to play at parties. Editor Nancy here, and I say this as someone who is in a cover band that played Doobie Brothers at least once every set. Not gonna lie, that last party looked like an absolute riot. And of course they're more than that. I think that they're a very solid band. Some of those tunes are really rockin', but this song, I feel, is brilliant. Kind of like a sultry little dark horse in their canon. So this song's a little bit difficult to place in terms of genre, because on the one hand, it has this very acoustic, folky feel. It's got fiddle, it's got all of these strong 3-part harmonies. And that feels like that comes straight out of the folk tradition. On the other hand, it's a very funky drum part that gives it a little bit of a groove, so it's more than just a folk song. I'd like to propose that we start at the beginning and work through the song until we reach the song's natural conclusion. I really like that the song opens with these wind chimes. Tinkle, 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 tinkle. Something is coming. Something windy. I made some wind chimes a few years ago. These are my wind chimes. And they go absolutely nuts when there's a storm coming. So when I hear this, I hear a storm coming. The fact that the song elects to open with a slow instrumental fade-in, it's a little bit unusual. I respect that. So throughout this first verse and chorus, there's no rhythm section at all, no drums, no bass. I think it's a clever little piece of arrangement for them to give the false impression that the song is going to be a sedate, well-behaved little folk song. It really does give the chords a chance to sparkle. And these chords really are something special. So, before the rhythm section comes in, let's have a listen to those chords. Okay, so a couple of things make the chords in the introduction special. One of them is that there's this really discordant note in between the two chords. So it goes like this. Am I playing this wrong? Have I been playing this wrong for years? Yeah, that's a D5. I have been playing it wrong. Okay, never mind, it goes like this. Exciting! I've just learned it's in a drop tuning. Because that is a D note, and the bottom string of a guitar is not a D note. So they've obviously gone so that they can go like this. Those are great. They're doing something much more intricate with the finger picking, but I'm happy to just show you the chords. I hope you're happy too. Because it's in a sort of like a drop D kind of tuning, the D chord is neither major nor minor. Major, minor. It's the melody on the word floating that lets you know that it's a major key. And she's ready for flow. Because the chord that they're playing is this, as opposed to this or this. It's just D. D5 power chord. So that D5, very powerful. Oof. And then we've got an A minor key with an upper extension. If you missed the Vinyl Friday where I talked about upper extensions, Piano Correspondent is going to give us a quick recap. Oh hey friends! So here's what I know about upper extensions. To make a chord, you need 3 notes. That'll tell you what the key is and whether or not it's minor or major. So for instance, if you want to make a G major chord, you need these 3 notes. If you want to make a G minor chord, you need these 3 notes. Anything else that you play outside of that is an upper extension of the chord, and it completely changes the color of the chord. So for instance, this is a G major with a suspended 9th, or a 6th, or a 7th, or a major 7th. They completely change the feel of the chord, major or minor. Those are upper extensions. Back to you. When we get to the chorus, we've got this G chord, "Oh black water, keep on rolling," followed by this beautiful thing. Ooh! Yes. Here's what the chord would sound like if it were just a B flat. Piano correspondent, this is B flat major. That is not B flat major, but it is lovely. This is B flat major. And now show us what upper extensions they've added to this chord to make it shine. Oh black water, keep on rolling, Mississippi moon, won't you keep on shining on. Sounds very posh when you play it on piano. A sleek, sexy chord. If I only ever heard the song up to this chorus, I would still think it was a beautiful song just for this chord. But the best is yet to come. Between the soft vocal harmonies, the fiddle, and the gentle acoustic guitar, the listener can conclude that this is a simple folk song. However, verse 2 brings the funk! Hear that it comes in on the toms. It gives it this very swampy, jungly feel. I don't actually own a tom-tom, but this is a 5-liter water bottle, empty, that I use as a proxy. Here it comes! It's not a tom drum, but it's a good approximation, I think, as water bottles go. So why is that drum part funky? That's a good question. The first thing is that the drummer is using ghost notes on the snare.
A quick note on the ghost note. In popular music drumming, ghost notes are ones played very softly between the main notes, most often on the snare drum in a drum kit.
This is what a ghost note sounds like. The second thing is that the kick is doing these double hits. A kick drum sounds like this, as opposed to a snare which sounds like this. Whereas in a lot of rock songs, you might have a drum part that goes sort of like... This one has that double kick at the top of every bar. But also when you listen to it in combination with those ghost notes, it creates this part that kind of hobbles and skips a little bit, sort of like a shuffle. And it sounds kind of like boom ba boom ba ba boom ba boom ba ba boom ba boom ba. Doing my best to sing this drum part. Do you like my dance? That's funky on its own, I think. But on top of all of that, the hi-hat is also doing this really cool thing. So listen, this outfit doesn't have a drum correspondent. And I don't have a hi-hat. So what I've done is I've taken this crash cymbal and rigged it to this stick. I've got a drumstick and a pot lid. I'm gonna do my best to show you the hi-hat part of the song. Here we go! Not terrible. Maybe one day I'll be good enough to hire a drum correspondent. So all of that together makes a very funky sort of sound. And while we're still on this verse, I like that they've snuck this little line in here. Just a little foreshadowing on the part of the Doobies. My last point about the drums is right here. I really love that the cymbals accentuate the syncopations on "Ain't got no worries." It goes sort of like boom, ba 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 ba. Let's listen to it together. spending far more of this episode singing drum parts than I was anticipating. And you all know how I love when all of the instruments drop out and then come back in. This one doesn't come back in on the downbeat the way that I love. It sort of like gives you a little breathing moment before we jump back into another cycle of these chords, right here. I appreciate that they give us that little breathing space because there's a lot going on in this song, and it's nice to take a minute and appreciate what we've just experienced. That was nice. Let's have some more. Let's look at the harmonies. It's a pretty standard 3-part harmony, but the 3 voices really work well together. These are the parts. Oh, black water, keep on rolling. Oh, black water, keep on rolling. Oh, black water, keep on rolling. And then obviously, together they sound like this. Oh, black water, keep on rolling. One more thing before we get to the song's plot twist, and that is this delightful little call and response solo between the guitar and the fiddle. So the guitar puts out a melody, the fiddle parrots that melody back to the guitar. And that happens a couple of times. Then they go off in their own directions and do something slightly different for a few bars. Then they come back together and they play the same sort of melody harmony piece. Let's have a listen. Music is not best enjoyed as a description. Call, response, call, response. Both do their own thing for this verse. Then they come together. Isn't that lovely? When they come back together, they play the same thing in unison, and then they play the same thing harmonized. They're in beautiful synchrony. This next point for me is another highlight of the song. It is a wee bass riff. I'll get the bass correspondent in here to show you how it goes. Right, so that was a nice song, right? Wrong! There's a coda! Instruments fade out under the vocals. The vocals remain prominent. No instruments. A cappella. A cappella coda. What? Oh, this part of the song is so good. It's a little bit cacophonous, which I think is a great thing. Let's have a listen to what all of the different vocals are doing. There are 3 separate parts. Let's start with the first. Here's some fun with Dixieland, pretty mama, come and take me by the hand. I lied, there are 4 parts. Here's the second part. By the hand, take me by the hand, pretty mama, come and dance with your daddy all night long. Except there are 2 people singing that, one is singing an octave below. And that, if I could sing that low, would sound kind of like this. By the hand, take me by the hand, pretty mama, come and dance with your daddy all night long. The next one fills in all the gaps from the last one, like this. By the hand, take me by the hand, pretty mama. Except that part is also harmonized. The harmony part goes like this. By the hand, take me by the hand, pretty mama. And then the last one sounds like this. I wanna honk-a-tonk, honk-a-tonk, honk-a-tonk with you all night long. Together they sound like this. Mama, come and take me by the hand. By the hand, take me by the hand, pretty mama, come and dance with your daddy all night long. I'd like to hear some funky Dixieland, pretty mama, come and take me by the hand. By the hand, take me by the hand, pretty mama, come and dance with your daddy all night long. I'd like to hear some funky Dixieland, pretty mama, come and take me by the hand. How cool is that? How many songs do you know that do that? How many massively popular pop songs do you know that have this strange like call and response chanting a cappella coda? And beyond that, it gets even better because they fade the instruments straight back in again. If you look at the song, you've got the instruments fading in at the introduction, then you've got them fading out right before the coda, and then fading back into the coda like this right before they fade out again. Pretty mama, come and take me by the hand. I want a hand, take me by the hand, pretty mama, come and take me. There it is. There's your band. And then bass is still playing its riff. We've got ad-libbing vocals. It's chaos. There's a big party happening. And then it fades out again. All of that fading in and out, for me, gives it this very sort of like hazy, swampy feel. It's like you're in like a misty bog. I learned this week that there's a big difference between a swamp and a bog. So using them interchangeably is ecologically incorrect. Fortunately, this isn't an ecological appreciation show, but rather a music appreciation show. Do you feel like the song has that kind of like dark, swirling, hazy, misty feel about it? Is it just me, or does it sound like you're in a swamp when you listen to this song? Let me know in the comments. You know I love to hear from you, genuinely. So when you put together the sort of juxtaposition of different genres, so the sort of folky and the funky, and those really colorful, stellar chord choices, the lovely three-part harmonies, and that exceptionally fun a cappella coda at the end, I think that this song is a real work of art. I think it is a brilliant piece of popular music. Thank you, Doobie Brothers. Thank you for your hard work. Final bits of housekeeping before I leave you to your weekend. In 2021, for the holidays, I did a cover video because it reminded me of Christmas when I was a teenager. It's not a Christmas song. It's actually Uncle Albert, Admiral Halsey by Paul McCartney. I used a combination of conventional instruments and my homemade sort of DIY creations to try and recreate the song as faithfully to the original as possible. I was asked to do Wonderful Christmas Time the following year, and with only a modicum of begrudge... I don't know what the noun is for begrudge. Begrugglement. I did a cover of Wonderful Christmas Time. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. Mood is right. Spirits up. I have been working on this year's Christmas cover for actually many weeks now. This week I'm gonna drop the first hint as to what it is. So the first hint in the lead up to the Christmas cover is that I will be remaining in the Beatleverse, but it is not specifically a Christmas song. So that's pretty broad, but I'll get more specific as we draw nearer to the release date. That's it from me. If you would like to support any of the strange things I do, be it raving about my records or unpaid but painstaking recreations of Beatles songs. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I'm gonna try and do it without any conventional instruments this time, so all DIY instruments. I've actually had to build some specifically for this cover. Yeah. If you would like to support any of my weird endeavors, I'll leave a link in the description to my Buy Me a Coffee page where you are welcome to make a donation, but you are not obliged. No pressure, my friends. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'll see you this weekend, where I'll be playing a lot of Paul McCartney bass lines. Have a great weekend! I forgot to mention, this is a song that my band covers, and it's one of my favorite things to play. This is our cover. I hope you like it. Well, I built me a raft and she's ready for flow. Oh, Mississippi keeps calling my name. Catfish are jumping, that paddle wheel thumping. Black water keep rolling on past just the same. Oh, black water keep on rolling. Mississippi moon, won't you keep on shining on me? Oh, black water keep on rolling. Mississippi moon, won't you keep on shining on me? Oh, black water keep on rolling. Mississippi moon, won't you keep on shining on me? Yeah, keep on shining your light.
on shining on me. Oh, black water, keep on rolling. Mississippi moon, won't you keep on shining on me. Oh, black water, keep on rolling. Mississippi moon, won't you keep on shining on me. Yeah, keep on shining down line. Gonna make everything better. Mama gonna make everything alright. And I ain't got no worries, and I ain't in no hurries at all. I'd like to hear some funky Dixieland. Pretty mama, come take me by the hand. Take me by the hand. Pretty mama, with you all night long. I'd like to hear some funky Dixieland. Pretty mama, come take me by the hand. Take me by the hand. Pretty mama, with you all night long. I'd like to hear some funky Dixieland. Pretty mama, come take me by the hand. Pretty mama, with you all night long. I'd like to hear some funky Dixieland. Pretty mama, come take me by the hand. Pretty mama, with you all night long.